A week before our adopted daughter's birthday party, I was in a car accident. When I woke up, I was told my kidneys were damaged, I'd suffered injuries below the waist, and I would never be able to have children. In my despair, my wife gripped my hand tightly, comforting me through tears. "Honey, don't be so distraught. No matter how you recover, Qiao Qiao and I will always be here for you." Seeing how upset she looked, I was touched and momentarily forgot my own pain. It wasn't until I overheard her talking to a friend that I learned she had orchestrated the car accident herself. Qiao Qiao is my child. This was the only way to make him truly accept her as his own daughter. Besides, his kidney is a good match for Qiao Qiao. Using his kidney creates a special bond between them. He'll definitely dote on her even more. It turned out our adopted daughter had a severe kidney disease and desperately needed a transplant. And I had become the target of her scheme. Pushing through the pain in my still recovering body, I forced open the study door. Jessica saw me and froze for a moment, quickly said a few words into the phone, and hung up. She looked at me, a flicker of panic in her eyes, but her expression quickly turned cold again. "You heard everything?" I was furious. "Jessica, why would you do this to me?" I demanded. "For 5 years, I've given you everything. You said you wanted to focus on your career and didn't want children, and I agreed without a second thought. But you went abroad and secretly had someone else's child. No wonder she was gone for a year when she'd only mentioned a short business trip. The girl she brought back wasn't some adopted daughter. She was your illegitimate child." Jessica averted her eyes, trying to explain. "I was taken advantage of overseas. It was a difficult situation. I already had the child. What else could I do? I had to keep her. Honey, don't worry. I chose to raise her without the father. I've completely cut ties with him." I ignored her excuses, shouting, "What about the car accident? You planned just to get a kidney for your daughter. You tried to harm me. What about our relationship? All those years we spent together? How could you be so cruel?" Seeing I wouldn't let it go, Jessica's face darkened. She dropped the pretense, snapping impatiently. "What does our relationship matter? Ever since your father was arrested and your family went bankrupt, you've been nothing but a freeloader. It's your privilege to be useful to my child now." With that, she raised her hand and slapped me hard across the face. I was already weak, and the force of the slap sent me crashing to the floor. A sharp pain shot through my abdomen. I couldn't help but grunt as blood slowly started to seep from my wound. Jessica ignored it, sneering with contempt in her eyes. "If it weren't for old times' sake, do you think I would have ever married you? Living in a house I bought, and you still complain?" Lying on the floor, hearing her words, I felt like my heart was being ripped apart. 5 years ago, after my father was framed and imprisoned, my family fell apart. My mother couldn't handle the shock. She fell ill and never recovered, eventually passing away. During those days, I was surrounded by scorn and despair. My company couldn't survive either and went completely bankrupt. It was Jessica who, when I was at my lowest point, ignored everyone's objections and married me. But now, those memories that once touched me so deeply felt like knives twisting in my gut. I looked up at her, my eyes filled with disbelief and despair. "You were the one who sabotaged the new job I found, and now you have the nerve to call me a freeloader?" My words instantly enraged Jessica, and she slapped me again, even harder. She spat viciously. "Ethan, don't push your luck. You better watch your mouth while I still care even a little bit about our past." Finished, she turned and yelled to the bodyguards, "Take him down to the basement. Don't let him out without my permission." Immediately, several bodyguards rushed forward and grabbed me roughly. I struggled desperately, but weakened as I was, I couldn't resist. I could only let them drag me away. Jessica watched them drag me off, saying coldly, "Qiao Qiao's birthday is tomorrow. You just stay put in the basement. Think about what you've done, and don't come out and cause trouble." I was thrown into the basement like a piece of trash, and the door was locked behind me. The stench of rot rising from the damp floor made me gag. Before I could even catch my breath, waves of pain shot through my lower back. My consciousness faded, and I finally passed out. I regained consciousness only when the piercing pain jolted me awake. Through the sliver of light filtering in from a narrow window, I realized it was already the next day. It was also the birthday of our adopted daughter, Qiao Qiao. The pain in my lower back made me instinctively reach back, and my hand came away sticky with blood. Gritting my teeth against the pain, I crawled toward the iron door and knocked. "Is anyone there? Let me out. I'm injured, please call a doctor." But only empty silence answered me. There wasn't a sound from outside the door. I hammered on the door again with all my strength, shouting for help. Perhaps afraid my noise would disturb the guests arriving for the party. Butlerly hurried over before long. Speaking through the iron door, his face etched with irritation, Butlerly said, "Sir, stop making such a fuss. Quiet down. It's Miss Qiao Qiao's birthday today. Don't cause a scene and embarrass us in front of the guests." Panic rising in my chest, I yelled at him, "Butlerly, help me. My wound is opened up. If I don't see a doctor, it'll get infected." Butlerly hesitated, then sighed. But the madam gave strict orders. No one is to let you out without her permission. Tears of helplessness streamed down my face as I begged again and again. "Butlerly, please, just secretly call a doctor for me. Please? Just don't tell Jessica Taylor." But Butlerly just shook his head helplessly. "Sir, I don't dare. If the madam finds out, I'll lose my job. Sir, you'll just have to endure it. We'll see after today." With that, he turned and hurried away. Undeterred, I kept desperately shouting for help and banging on the door. Finally, my cries angered Jessica Taylor. She stormed down to the basement, flanked by 2 bodyguards. The iron door swung open, and she kicked me hard with her high heel, sending me sprawling to the floor. I gasped in pain, struggling to get up as I pleaded, "Jessica Taylor, my wounds opened up. Please, take me to the hospital. I really can't take much more." Jessica Taylor ignored me, scoffing dismissively. "It's just a little blood. You won't die. I'll take you to the hospital after the party ends." With a casual wave of her hand, the 2 bodyguards immediately stepped forward, pulling out ropes to tie me up. Shocked and furious, I struggled helplessly as I yelled at her, "Jessica Taylor, what are you doing? How can you be so cruel? If you don't love me, just divorce me. Why torture me like this?" Jessica Taylor looked at me coldly, her eyes devoid of any warmth. "Ethan, stop struggling. Just get through today. At Qiao Qiao's birthday party, I'll announce to everyone that she's your child. That way, no one will gossip about your infertility, and you'll remain Jessica Taylor's husband." Even though I was tied up tight, I refused to give up, shouting, "Jessica Taylor, let me go. Take me to the hospital. You can't do this to me." My shouts merely seemed like noise to Jessica Taylor. Frowning with annoyance, she glanced at the bodyguards beside her. A moment later, a filthy rag was stuffed into my mouth. I watched helplessly as Jessica Taylor left with her bodyguards, tears of despair streaming down my face. After that, I drifted in and out of consciousness, the pain overwhelming. I don't know how much time passed before I heard faint footsteps approaching. Then, the iron door creaked open slowly. I thought Jessica Taylor had finally found her conscience and was letting me out. But when I saw who it was, I froze. It was a man I didn't recognize. But looking at his eyes, his features, I knew instantly. He was Qiao Qiao's biological father. A bitter taste filled my mouth. What happened to the plan? Keep the child, ditch the father. Why was this man brazenly here in the house? He walked in, looked me up and down, a mocking smirk playing on his lips. Well, so this is Jessica's worthless husband? From the look in your eyes, you know who I am, don't you? I glared at him, furious, wanting to scream curses, but only whimpers escaped my throat. He seemed to find me amusing. He stepped closer and lifted my chin with his finger. "Don't glare at me. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being useless. Couldn't even hold on to your own wife and kid." I jerked my head away, shaking off his hand. He didn't seem to care, just kept spewing insults. "Jessica Taylor only kept you around because you were obedient, a convenient stand-in dad for Qiao Qiao. You probably could never figure it out, could you? Why, when Qiao Qiao needed a kidney, Jessica Taylor would rather go to all the trouble of staging a car accident to take yours than ask me." Before I could even react, he burst out laughing. "Because she loves me. How could she bear to let me get hurt? You're nothing but a complete joke." The man's wild laughter echoed in the basement, piercing my ears. Rage and humiliation flooded me. But trapped and unable to move, all I could do was glare venomously at him. He noticed my stare, stopped laughing abruptly, his expression twisting. "What?" Still defiant. "Let me tell you the truth. Qiao Qiao is my daughter with Jessica Taylor. We had her before you even got married. From the very beginning, Jessica Taylor marrying you was all an elaborate scam. She planned it all along. When Qiao Qiao needed a kidney, she'd use yours to save her." Hearing this, it felt like I'd been struck by lightning. My body started shaking uncontrollably. Seeing my reaction, the man's grin widened with satisfaction. "You thought she was your savior when you were down on your luck? Don't be naive. If it weren't for Qiao Qiao, she wouldn't have given a loser like you a second glance." The already dim, damp basement felt even colder, but rage burned through me, making my body hot. Just then, the man pulled out his phone, found a photo, and held it up in front of me. "Look, this is what our real, happy family looks like. And you're just an outsider, completely irrelevant." In the photo, Jessica Taylor, the man, and their daughter Qiao Qiao were huddled close together, beaming. I shut my eyes, unable to bear the sight. But the man wasn't done with me. He punched me hard in the stomach, grabbed my hair, and snarled, "I grace you with this sight, and you have the nerve to look away?" Just then, there was a knock on the basement door. Uncle Lee's voice came from outside. "Mr. Yi, the madam is looking for you. Please come out." The man put his phone away and shot me a contemptuous glance. I don't have time to waste on you. I'll deal with you next time, assuming you're still alive then." With that, he opened the door and strode out. Uncle Lee, worried the man might have seriously hurt me, cautiously entered to check. Overcome with rage, the blow to my stomach churning inside me, a coppery taste filled my throat, and I suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood right on his face. Uncle Lee turned deathly pale, frozen in shock. I couldn't hold on any longer. My head slumped forward. Trembling, Uncle Lee checked for my breath, then collapsed onto the floor, screaming, "Help! The master! The master is dead!" The man had just reached the top of the basement stairs when Uncle Lee's terrified scream echoed up. He froze, sensing trouble, and quickly turned back, running. Entering the basement, he saw Uncle Lee slumped on the floor, and me, head hanging, my condition unclear. The man reacted instantly, clamping a hand over Uncle Lee's mouth. "Don't scream," the man hissed, his voice low and vicious. "It's just you and me here now. If he's dead, we're both finished. Besides, I only exchanged a few words with him. How could he just die?" As he spoke, the man reached out to check for my breath under my nose. His expression turned ugly. He released Uncle Lee and threatened, "Remember, you just came down to bring him food. You found him unconscious when you arrived. Get someone to take him to the hospital right now. Maybe they can still save him. But if you dare say anything else..." The man shot Uncle Lee a sinister look. "You'll spend the rest of your life rotting somewhere dark." Terrified, Uncle Lee trembled all over and stammered, "I understand. The guests are all outside. Take him through the back courtyard. Don't let the madam know about this yet. We can't ruin Qiao Qiao's birthday party." Scared speechless, Uncle Lee could only nod. The man glanced at me one more time, then turned and strode out of the basement. Uncle Lee shakily got to his feet, looked at me, and scrambled out of the room. A short while later, a few servants followed Uncle Lee back in. They clumsily carried me to a car and drove off towards the hospital. At the hospital, I was quickly wheeled into the emergency room. Once I was sure no one from the G family was around, I slowly opened my eyes and saw a friend I hadn't seen in a long time. Surprised and relieved, I weakly said, "William, it's really you. I can't believe you actually became a doctor." William's eyes reddened with shock. He asked urgently, "Ethan, what on earth happened? How did you get hurt so badly?" I had no choice but to tell him everything about the evil deeds of Jessica, Taylor, and the man surnamed Yi. From plotting the car accident to steal my kidney, to being imprisoned in the basement where I nearly died. Finally, I begged William to help me hide the fact that I was still alive from the G family. The more William heard, the angrier he became. He cursed through gritted teeth, "This is outrageous. They treated you like you weren't even human. No wonder only a driver brought you here, without any proper companion." "Ethan, don't worry. I will definitely help you." Because I had lost so much blood, William didn't delay. He administered anesthesia and began the surgery. After some unknown amount of time, I slowly woke up to find myself lying in a well-furnished hospital room. Meanwhile, outside the operating room, William approached the G family's driver with a solemn expression and shook his head gravely. "We did everything we could," he said sorrowfully. "The patient lost too much blood, and the wounds were severely infected. In the end, we couldn't save him." Hearing this, the driver's face instantly turned deathly pale. His voice trembled as he said, "How am I going to explain this to the madam?" Jessica Taylor didn't learn about Ethan's death until 3 days later. Arranged by Qiao Qiao's biological father, Jessica had gone on a trip out of town right after the party. When Jessica Taylor returned home 3 days later, she finally remembered Ethan, imprisoned in the basement. She asked nonchalantly, "Was Sir sent to the hospital?" Hearing this, Uncle Lee shuddered violently. Then he dropped straight to his knees, his voice choked with tears. "Madam, sir, he didn't make it. He's gone." Jessica Taylor froze for a moment, then grabbed Uncle Lee by the collar, demanding harshly, "What did you say? How is that possible? I only locked him up for a few days. How could he be dead?" Uncle Lee was so terrified he could barely speak. Jessica Taylor shoved him away violently, roaring, "Speak! What exactly happened? If you lie to me, you'll regret it." Uncle Lee was a longtime servant of the G family and knew Jessica Taylor's ruthless methods well. How could he dare hide anything now? He had no choice but to tell her the whole story from beginning to end. After listening, a flicker of remorse crossed Jessica Taylor's face, and her eyes instantly reddened. She hadn't thought his condition was actually that severe. Jessica Taylor slapped Uncle Lee hard across the face. "You actually hid this from me for 3 days." With that, she pulled out her phone, dialed a number, and yelled into it, "Yi Siwei, get your ass over here right now." Half an hour later, Yi Siwei walked in, looking bewildered. "Jessica, what's wrong? Why are you so furious?" Jessica Taylor strode up to him, demanding, "Ethan's dead. Didn't you go see him? What the hell happened?" Yi Siwei's expression changed, but he forced himself to look calm and innocent. "I did see him, but we only spoke for a few minutes. I didn't touch him." Jessica Taylor eyed him suspiciously. "I never said you touched him. Why are you so quick to deny it?" Feeling guilty, Yi Siwei became flustered and angry. "You don't believe me? If anyone's responsible for Ethan's death, it's you. You were the one who insisted on locking him in the basement and refused to let him go to the hospital." Jessica Taylor trembled with rage. "Shut up." They went back and forth, blaming each other. Finally, Jessica Taylor waved to the bodyguard standing nearby and ordered sharply, "Take him down to the basement." The bodyguards swarmed forward, grabbed Yi Siwei, and dragged him toward the basement. The basement was dimly lit, but upon closer inspection, dark patches were visible on the floor. Jessica Taylor sensed something was wrong and flipped on the light. The scene before her made her freeze. Bloodstains covered everything. The floor, the ropes, a horrifying sight. Jessica Taylor's legs gave way, and she almost collapsed. Her voice trembling, she asked Uncle Lee, "Where is Ethan's body? Is it still at the hospital?" Uncle Lee kept his head down and replied quietly, "Madam, I don't know." Ignoring everything else, Jessica Taylor turned and bolted out of the basement, heading straight for the hospital. At the hospital, Jessica Taylor asked everyone she saw, until she ran into William. "You're Jessica Taylor?" Jessica Taylor grabbed the front of William's white coat, yelling, "Where is Ethan's body?" William remained calm, gently removed her hand, and said, "His relatives have already claimed the body. He's been cremated and buried." Jessica Taylor's eyes widened in fury. "Don't try to lie to me. His father's in prison, and his mother is dead. What relatives could he possibly have? Besides, he was my husband. Even in death, I should be the one to claim his body." William retorted coolly, "Is that why you abused him?" Jessica Taylor was stunned. "What do you mean? Ethan was my friend. When he arrived at the hospital, he was barely breathing. His wounds had reopened. His abdomen was severely injured. It's clear your family tortured him plenty. Before he died, he said his biggest regret was marrying you. He said he'd rather die than ever see you again." As he spoke, he took 2 papers from his pocket. One was a death certificate, the other a body claim form, both signed. William said, "I was just following his last wish by contacting his cousin to claim the body." Seeing the 2 documents, Jessica Taylor's legs buckled, and she collapsed to the floor, muttering over and over, "I don't believe it. I don't believe he's just dead like this." Jessica Taylor could never accept that I was really dead. She got my cousin's contact information from William. When she found out they were taking my ashes abroad for burial today, she raced to the airport like a madwoman. Meanwhile, I was sitting on a private jet, waiting for takeoff. Everything was going according to plan. I knew Jessica Taylor's stubbornness all too well. She wouldn't leave me alone, even in death. That's why I'd arranged for Alex to carry the urn, specifically to draw her attention. Sure enough, inside the airport, Jessica Taylor was frantically searching everywhere for Alex, just like I expected. Finally, she spotted him at the security checkpoint, holding the urn. "Stop!" Jessica Taylor screamed, lunging towards him. Nearby passengers turned to stare, startled. Alex clutched the urn tighter, watching her warily. Jessica Taylor tried to snatch the urn, and they struggled over it. Just then, airport security arrived quickly and restrained her. Struggling, Jessica Taylor yelled, "He's my husband. His ashes belong with me." Alex looked at her coldly and said, "Ethan was afraid you'd keep harassing him even after he died. He didn't want you disturbing him. Just stop making a scene." Hearing this, Jessica Taylor visibly flinched, her face filled with pain and regret. Her voice trembled as she said, "I know I was wrong. I wasn't thinking clearly back then. I did unforgivable things to him. Please give me Ethan's ashes. I'll repent every day for the rest of my life. I'll spend my life making it up to him." As she spoke, her legs gave out, and she collapsed to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. The surrounding passengers heard Jessica Taylor and started whispering among themselves. Some looked sympathetic, quietly urging Alex, "Maybe just give it to her. She looked so pitiful. Alex was torn. He looked down at the urn in his hands, then back at Jessica Taylor kneeling on the floor. As Alex hesitated, the security guards relaxed their vigilance slightly. Seizing the moment, Jessica Taylor suddenly broke free, lunged forward, snatched the urn, and ran. The security guards moved to chase her, but Alex stopped them. Let her go. Clutching the urn, Jessica Taylor ran all the way out of the airport and got into her car. Once inside, she held the urn tightly, protectively, as if cradling a priceless treasure. She stared out the window, her mind drifting back to the past, to all the moments we'd shared. She remembered all the terrible things she had done to me, and tears of remorse welled up again. Back at the G family villa, Jessica Taylor placed the urn in the most prominent spot in the living room. Then she sat beside it numbly, clutching the photos William had taken. The photos showed the shocking injuries covering my body, each mark a testament to the abuse Jessica Taylor had inflicted on me. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Uncle Lee went to answer it. Standing outside was none other than Yi Siwei. Jessica, why the sudden summons? Did you miss me? The words were barely out of his mouth when a sharp slap echoed across his face. Didn't you swear you never laid a hand on him? Jessica Taylor screamed, throwing the photos at Yi Siwei's face. Then how do you explain these injuries? The slap made Yi Siwei's head ring, his face instantly burning. After seeing the photo, he dropped the pretense. Yi Siwei wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with a cold smile and shot back. Jessica Taylor, stop playing the victim. Yes, I laid hands on him, but who was the one who took Ethan's kidney? Who caused the car accident? Wasn't it all you? And now you want to pin all the blame on me? No way. Jessica Taylor trembled with rage, her delicate features twisted in anger. Yi Siwei, don't push it. I admit I committed an unforgivable wrong against Ethan, and I will atone for what I've done, but don't think you can escape either, Yi Siwei. As she finished speaking, Jessica Taylor called her bodyguards, who restrained Yi Siwei. He struggled fiercely, cursing, Jessica Taylor, you dare touch me? You'll regret this. But the only response he received was Jessica Taylor's icy stare. Just then, Qiao Qiao heard the commotion and ran out of her room. She cried out, Mommy, don't hurt Daddy. Seeing her daughter, a rare trace of gentleness appeared on Jessica Taylor's face. She coaxed softly, Qiao Qiao, your real father is Ethan. Yi Siwei did bad things. Mommy has to punish him. Qiao Qiao wouldn't listen, crying even harder and shouting, Ethan is useless. I won't accept him as my father. I only recognize Uncle Yi as my dad. Hearing this, Jessica Taylor's expression darkened. She signaled for Uncle Lee to take Qiao Qiao back to her room. Once Qiao Qiao had left, Jessica Taylor stared at Yi Siwei with anger and disappointment. Did you teach Qiao Qiao to say those things? What exactly did you say when you saw Ethan? Yi Siwei remained defiant. You still don't believe me? Seeing him unrepentant, Jessica Taylor yelled at the bodyguards, drag him away. Beat him until he talks. After she spoke, the bodyguards seized Yi Siwei and dragged him down to the basement. In the dim basement, sounds of punches and kicks, along with Yi Siwei's agonized screams, soon followed. Jessica Taylor even joined in, landing several hard kicks to his abdomen. Only when Yi Siwei passed out did Jessica Taylor order them to stop. Afterward, Yi Siwei was rushed to the hospital. William told me this news when Alex and I had already arrived in the United States. When I learned Yi Siwei had been beaten half to death, I felt no satisfaction, only a sense of sorrow. Reality showed me that the men around Jessica Taylor never seemed to meet good ends. Perhaps from the very beginning, she had only ever loved herself. To satisfy her own desires, she could sacrifice anyone at any time, dragging them into the abyss. It was me, Ethan, and it was him, Yi Siwei. While I was abroad, I changed all my old contact information. While focusing on my recovery, I also started pursuing the dream Jessica Taylor had crushed. I used to love photography, dreaming of becoming a professional photographer. Back when Jessica Taylor and I were still friends, I took lots of pictures of her. She always praised me with a smile, saying I'd definitely become a great photographer one day. Later, my family fell on hard times, the company went bankrupt, and I ended up marrying Jessica Taylor. I thought I could finally pursue my dream after we got married, but she started doing everything to stop me, insisting my camera was only for taking pictures of her. At first, I just thought she was throwing a tantrum and didn't think much of it. But then, after I'd finally managed to find a job, she smashed my camera herself. She even went around threatening people in the photography industry, telling them not to hire me. It turned out she'd always wanted to keep me under her thumb, like some kind of accessory. Just like that, She single-handedly crushed my dream of being a photographer. Now that I'd faked my death and regained my freedom, I dove headfirst into the world of photography. During the day, I wandered the streets and alleys with my camera, capturing slices of local life. At night, I studied photography theory and analyzed the works of the masters. As time went on, I realized more and more that marriage isn't everything. Freedom is what's truly precious. And so, I live peacefully in the United States. A year later, with an investment from Alex, I successfully opened my own photography studio. On opening day, Alex, William, and some new friends all came to congratulate me. I was busy greeting guests when I happened to look up and saw the last person I ever wanted to see. For a split second, all I wanted was to pretend I didn't recognize her and turn away immediately. But before I could move, Jessica Taylor rushed over like a whirlwind and threw her arms around me, holding on tight. "Ethan, I knew you weren't dead." Her voice was thick with anger and hurt as she demanded, "Why did you lie to me?" "Jessica Taylor, let go of me." I fought back my revulsion and pushed her away. Alex and William noticed the commotion and hurried over, watching Jessica Taylor warily. My other friends also sensed the tension and looked over confused. Alex asked coldly, "Jessica Taylor, how did you find this place?" Jessica Taylor immediately looked towards William. William frowned. "You followed me?" Jessica Taylor scoffed. "Only because you lied to me. Ethan isn't dead at all." As she turned back to me, closing in, "Ethan, tell me, why would you do this?" I backed away, putting distance between us, unable to hide the disgust on my face. "You know exactly why I did this." My words seemed to cut Jessica Taylor deeply. Tears welled in her eyes as she reached for me again. "I'm sorry, Ethan. I know I was wrong. Please, give me another chance." I quickly pulled my arm away. "Jessica Taylor, who are you putting on this act for now?" I demanded coldly. "Don't forget, you're the one who said you only married me out of some sense of past obligation. Since that's how it is." I took a deep breath and said, enunciating each word clearly, "Let's get a divorce." "Impossible!" Jessica Taylor shrieked, her eyes suddenly red. "I will absolutely not divorce you. Ethan, you can only be my husband." Then, her earlier frenzy vanished, replaced by a pleading expression. "Ethan, just come back to me. We can work things out with your photography, anything. I can set you up with an even bigger studio, help you make a name for yourself in the photography world. I promise I'll follow through this time. Please, just come back to me." I looked at her, my heart completely unmoved. "Jessica Taylor, don't waste your breath. It's over between us." Alex stood beside me, arms crossed, and said bluntly, "Jessica Taylor, after everything you did back then, you already hurt Ethan deeply. Don't you think saying all this now is ridiculous?" William couldn't help but scoff. "This late-blooming affection is worthless." Jessica Taylor acted as if she hadn't heard, persisting stubbornly. "Ethan, after you left, I spent every day and night reflecting, and I finally realized how much I love you. Please, just give me one more chance." I looked at Jessica Taylor with a bitter smile, my eyes full of scorn and disappointment. "Jessica Taylor, how long are you going to keep up this act? Yisiwei already told me everything. The truth is, you never broke off contact with him, not from the very beginning. You even took a family portrait together. In your eyes, did I, Ethan, deserve to be kept in the dark for 5 whole years?" Jessica Taylor's face instantly turned deathly pale, a flash of panic in her eyes, but she quickly composed herself. She tried to argue. "He's lying. Don't believe him. It's all a misunderstanding." I cut her off coldly. "A misunderstanding? I suppose making me raise your daughter with Yisiwei was just a misunderstanding too. You had me raise your daughter with Yisiwei. What did you take me for? After we divorce, you can be with Yisiwei openly, continue your life together. Just let me go, Jessica Taylor." Jessica Taylor panicked, shaking her head frantically. "No, it's not like that, Ethan. I love you. What I had with Yisiwei was just an act. Ethan, believe me, after I found out Yisiwei hurt you, I punished him severely." "Enough." I raised my voice, cutting her off. Listening to her words sent a chill down my spine. "Jessica Taylor, you're terrifying. First, you hurt me so carelessly, and then you could even turn viciously on your own daughter's father. If I went back with you, what chance would I have?" I stared directly into her eyes, my gaze intense. "You could be ruthless enough to punish Yi Siwei. So how can you not understand that you are the one responsible for bringing us to this point? Aren't you the one who deserves punishment the most?" Hearing this, Jessica Taylor abruptly lowered her head, her shoulders trembling slightly. I thought she might be feeling remorse, but unexpectedly, she suddenly reached out and grabbed my arm tightly. When she looked up again, her eyes held a hint of threat. "Ethan, don't refuse me. If you want to keep living like this, you'll obediently come back to the country with me. Seeing that pleading wasn't working, she resorted to threats. I couldn't help but scoff, grabbing her wrist and pulling free. Jessica Taylor, you haven't changed one bit. That whole act earlier was just for show, wasn't it? Seeing that neither pleading nor threats worked on me, Jessica Taylor seemed to snap, suddenly lunging toward a nearby display stand. Before I could stop her, she swept all the photographs displayed on it crashing to the floor. I rushed to stop her. Jessica Taylor, are you crazy? Seeing this, Alex also charged forward to restrain her, but Jessica Taylor bit him hard on the arm. William and a few friends hurried over to help, finally managing to restrain her after a struggle. Jessica Taylor struggled, glaring viciously at me. Ethan, you'll regret this. I looked at her coldly. Jessica Taylor, seeing you like this only makes me more certain I was right to leave you. Alex, grimacing from the pain in his arm, took out his phone and called the police. As the police arrived and led Jessica Taylor away, she was still screaming hysterically. Ethan, as long as we're not divorced, you'll never escape me. The studio was a wreck, camera equipment scattered everywhere. Looking at Alex's injured hand, I was filled with guilt. Man, this is all my fault. I dragged you into this. Let me take you to the hospital right now to get that bandaged. Alex shook his head, his eyes full of worry. Don't worry about this scratch, he said. Ethan, the plan to fake your death is blown. Jessica Taylor is back in your life, and you need to divorce her immediately. It's the only way you'll ever be free of her. William chimed in. I have a friend who's a lawyer. Maybe he can help. You absolutely have to divorce Jessica Taylor. Later, thanks to some maneuvering by Alex, Jessica Taylor got into trouble abroad and was deported back home. I thought I'd finally be free of her and could live peacefully, but I should have known better. Like a relentless ghost, Jessica Taylor somehow found my new phone number. At first, she bombarded me with dozens of messages daily, ranging from tearful pleas to angry threats. Then the nonstop phone calls started. If I didn't pick up, she'd just call again from a different number. It completely disrupted my life. Meanwhile, my lawyer contacted Jessica Taylor to discuss the divorce. I also sent her several copies of the divorce agreement, but she ignored them completely, tearing up every single one. The truth is, ever since I decided to build a life in the United States, I had hired a private investigator to secretly gather evidence of how Jessica Taylor orchestrated the car accident to frame me and had my kidney removed. I hadn't used the evidence before because I didn't want to reveal I was alive. But now that she knew, there was no reason to hold back. I organized the evidence and gave it to my lawyer. After carefully reviewing it, he told me, this is crucial. Not only will it ensure the divorce goes through, but will also make Jessica Taylor face serious legal consequences for her actions. A week later, my lawyer officially filed the lawsuit with the court. When Jessica Taylor received the summons, she tried her old tricks again, calling me, alternating between begging for forgiveness and spewing threats. But my mind was made up. I wouldn't be swayed. On the day of the hearing, Jessica Taylor showed up at the courthouse with her lawyer, resentment clear in her eyes. My lawyer presented the evidence of her past crimes. The testimony from the driver she hired for the car crash, photos documenting her collaboration with an unlicensed doctor to remove my kidney. Piece by piece, the proof was undeniable. Jessica Taylor's face grew paler and paler. Faced with irrefutable evidence, she had no defense. In the end, the judge granted the divorce. Furthermore, Jessica Taylor was sentenced to prison for multiple crimes, including attempted murder and illegal organ harvesting. The moment the verdict was read, Jessica Taylor collapsed, tears of regret streaming down her face. I turned and walked out of the court, letting out a long breath. The shadow that had hung over me for years finally lifted. Alex clapped me on the shoulder, smiling. Ethan, it's all over. Things are only going to get better from here. William added, yeah, she got exactly what she deserved. I threw my arms around both Alex and William, grinning as we walked forward. Drinks are on me tonight. We have to celebrate. I knew my new life was truly beginning now. Everything that happened before, it was all just a bad dream born from misplaced love. The end.